Hello family, before we start this intriguing story, we would like you to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you will be notified once we drop new story. Also comment the time you are watching this and country you are watching from. The rain fell like a warning. Somewhere in Ojodugu village, a scream broke the silence of the night. It wasn't thunder, it was a 17-year-old girl, begging to stay. Ziphora stood at the doorway of her father's old hut, soaked, her wrapper clinging to her skinny frame. Her stepmother, Naomi, had fire in her eyes and a broom in her hand. "Leave my house, you wretched child," Naomi shouted. "But Mama," Ziphora cried. "I am not your mother," Naomi snapped. "Your mother died and left her curse with you. Tulisa is the only daughter I have." In the corner, Tulisa smirked, her dry skin glowing in the lantern light. She said nothing, just watched Ziphora being pushed into the storm. Twist. The door slammed shut. Ziphora turned back once, hoping it would open. It didn't. She was alone. The path out of Ojodugu was muddy, winding through bushes that scratched at her legs. Her old slippers were soaked, and hunger twisted her stomach. She kept walking. "No one will ever love you," Naomi's words echoed in her head. "You are nothing." But deep inside, Ziphora's heart fought back. She hummed softly. A lullaby. Her mother's lullaby. "When the stars are hiding, my child, don't fear the night." The tune carried her forward like a whisper from heaven. Hours passed. Her feet were swollen. But ahead, she saw lights, bright, moving, loud. Lagos. Lagos was nothing like Ojodugu. The air was thick with noise. People rushed past her, too busy to notice the wet, shivering girl. She tried to ask for help, but no one listened. By nightfall, she crawled into a narrow alley and found a broken-down cart. She hid beneath it, hugging herself for warmth. That's when a shadow appeared. "You dey okay?" a voice asked. Ziphora jumped. A man in a torn t-shirt, holding a tray of roasted corn, knelt beside her. He wasn't rich. But his eyes were kind. "My name no Adinuga," he said. "Come chop small food." "No fear." Ziphora hesitated, but her stomach answered for her. As she ate, her tears mixed with the rain. "You look like person wey life go change," Adinuga said softly. She looked up, confused. "Me?" "Yes." "Sing again," he urged. "That song you dey hum." Ziphora blinked. She didn't know anyone had heard. She sang again. Just a verse. Just enough. Unknown to her, a woman had paused at the entrance of the alley. She wore heels and held a tablet. The woman stepped forward. "Who is this girl?" she asked Adinuga. He stood up quickly. "Oh, madam, not just one pikin wey no get where to go." "I heard her singing," the woman said. "What's her name?" Ziphora looked up, unsure whether to speak. "I'm Teyo," the woman said, smiling. "From Lagos National TV. And I think this girl has a gift." Teyo handed Ziphora a card. "Come tomorrow. I want the world to hear your voice." Ziphora stared at it, shivering, not from cold, but from the possibility that, for the first time, her life might be changing. Ziphora clutched the card like it was gold. But in her heart, fear screamed louder than excitement. What if it was a trap? What if Teyo changed her mind tomorrow? The Lagos sky was still whipping light rain. Adinuga handed her an old jacket and sat beside her under the cart. "You dey fear?" he asked, watching her eyes study the card again. Ziphora nodded. "What if I fail?" Adinuga smiled. "No dey fear success before it come. Even big stars start small." Those words soaked deeper than the rain. But she still couldn't sleep. That night, as the city snored and whispered, Ziphora stared at the dark sky and whispered, "Mama, I hope you can see me." Morning came fast. Adinuga took her to a public restroom where she cleaned up with water from a leaking tap. He gave her a yellow dress from his late sister's old trunk. It didn't fit perfectly, but for the first time in a long time, Ziphora felt presentable. As they arrived at Lagos National TV, Ziphora gripped Adenuga's hand tight. The glass building stretched into the sky, and people in suits rushed around like ants with phones. Teo was waiting at the entrance. "You came," she said with a warm smile. "She never sings for crowd before," Adenuga explained. "That's okay," Teo said. "Let her sing for herself first." They walked inside. Ziphora's eyes widened. Cameras. Lights. Giant posters of celebrities she'd only heard about. "Come this way," a producer said. "We'll do a quick test." Ziphora stepped onto a small stage. Alone. The lights dimmed. A mic stood in front of her. Her knees shook. But then, she closed her eyes and began to hum. The room that had been bustling fell silent. Ziphora's voice was gentle, like a whisper from an old storybook. The cameraman stared. A sound engineer slowly removed his headphones, stunned. She sang the lullaby again. But this time, with everything she had lost in her heart. When she finished, the room stayed quiet. For a long moment, no one clapped. Then suddenly, thunderous applause. Teo wiped a tear. "You're not just a singer, Ziphora. You're a story." Ziphora stood frozen. Her voice had done something real. "You're going on live audition next week," Teo said. "But we need to prepare you." Back in Ojodugu, Tulaisa sat in front of her phone, scrolling through social media. A clip titled, "Mysterious Street Girl Wows Lagos National TV Staff," had just gone viral. She clicked and gasped. "Ziphora," she whispered. She ran to Naomi, phone in hand. Naomi snatched the phone and watched in disbelief as Ziphora sang on screen. "She went to Lagos. And she's on TV." Naomi screamed. Tulaisa clenched her jaw. "She looks different." Naomi hissed. "That girl is a snake. I threw her out, and now she wants to shame me." Tulaisa looked again. Jealousy burned in her chest like fire. "She's not better than me." Naomi's eyes narrowed. "She won't shine for long. Not if I have something to say about it." That evening, Teo invited Ziphora to stay in a small guest room at the studio for the week. She couldn't hide her excitement, but she also couldn't stop thinking about Adenuga. She asked for his number. "I no get phone," he laughed, "but I dey here every day. You no go forget Adenuga, ABI." Ziphora smiled and hugged him tight. "I never forget you." Before she left, Adenuga gave her one final gift, a small carved necklace with the word "believe" on it. "Even when the light no dey, your voice go guide you," he said. She wore it with pride. Later that night, Teo sat with Ziphora, looking over the viral clip. "You're trending," Teo said. "Everyone wants to know who you are." But as Ziphora read the comments, one caught her eye. "She's lying. That girl was thrown out of her village. Ask about her real story." Her heart skipped. Teo frowned. "Ignore that. Haters will always talk." But Ziphora knew. Naomi had seen it. And she wasn't going to stay silent. The audition was just days away. Ziphora stood on the rooftop, looking out over Lagos, wondering. Could she become a star before her past found a way to destroy her? Ziphora woke up to loud knocks on the studio guest room door. "Ziphora. Come downstairs." "There's a problem," Teo shouted. Still in her night dress, Ziphora ran down, heart beating fast. When she got there, 2 security men were standing at the entrance with a woman and a girl. Ziphora's legs shook. It was Naomi and Tulaisa. Naomi's voice was loud and sharp. "That's my stepdaughter. She ran away. She's a liar." Tulaisa folded her arms and looked Ziphora up and down. "She's pretending to be an angel here, but you don't know what she did at home," Naomi added. Teo raised her hand. "Enough. This is not the village. You don't come here shouting lies." Naomi pointed at Ziphora. "Ask her where her father is." Ask her how she fought with her family before running away. Ziphora could not speak. Tears filled her eyes. Her hands trembled. Ziphora sat with Teo in her office after the drama. Teo spoke softly, "You don't have to hide anything. Tell me the truth." Ziphora nodded slowly and began to talk. She told her about her mother's death. How her father remarried. How Naomi turned the home into a place of pain. How Tulisa had everything while she washed clothes and fetched water all day. And how, on that stormy night, she was thrown out like a piece of dirt. Teo was quiet for a while. Then she stood up and hugged Ziphora. "You have nothing to be ashamed of. They tried to bury you, but they didn't know you were a seed." 3 days passed quickly. It was time for the live audition at Lagos National TV. Ziphora wore a simple white dress. She touched the believed necklace Adenuga gave her. It gave her strength. The hall was full. Judges, cameras, and bright lights everywhere. One judge whispered to another, "Isn't this the girl from that viral video?" Ziphora stepped on stage. Her heart beat fast. She looked at the crowd, then closed her eyes. And she sang. Her voice was soft at first, like a quiet wind. Then it grew stronger, deeper, full of pain and hope. People in the crowd held their breath. Some had tears in their eyes. When she finished, the hall was silent, then claps started. And then, a standing ovation. All 3 judges stood up. One of them said, "That didn't sound like a song. It sounded like your heart speaking to us." As Ziphora walked off the stage, happy and smiling, she saw someone waiting behind the curtain. It was Tulisa. "Alone. Why are you here?" Ziphora asked, shocked. Tulisa looked away. "I just wanted to see if you would fail." Ziphora stepped back, hurt. "But you didn't," Tulisa added. "You were amazing." Ziphora didn't know what to say. Tulisa's voice softened. "They love you now. But when the fame goes, they will forget. Just don't forget where you came from." Before Ziphora could reply, Tulisa walked away. After the show, Teo ran to her with big news. "Ziphora, you made it to the final round. And guess what? Your audition video is already going viral. Over 1 million views in just hours." Ziphora smiled with tears in her eyes. "This is for my mama," she whispered. But while Ziphora's star was rising, trouble was growing in the village. Naomi was planning something. Something that could ruin everything. Back in Ojodugu village, Naomi paced back and forth in her small compound. "She's on TV every day," she said, her voice sharp. "They are calling her a queen, a star. But they don't know the full story." Tulisa sat on a bench, quiet. "She's shining, Mama. People love her now." Naomi hissed. "She thinks she's better than us. But I'll teach her a lesson. Let's see how long she shines when her real story comes out." Naomi picked up her phone and made a call. "Yes. I want to speak on a radio show. I have a truth to expose." Ziphora was inside the studio when a staff member rushed in. "You need to see this." He turned on the TV. A village radio show was playing. Naomi's voice filled the room. "That girl on Lagos TV. She's not who you think she is. She was rude, lazy, and disrespectful. We took her in, gave her food, and she ran away. Now she's using pity to get fame." Ziphora's hands shook. Her eyes widened. Teo ran in. "Ignore it, Ziphora. She's just trying to pull you down." But Ziphora felt cold inside. "What if people believe her?" she whispered. That evening, there was a knock at the studio gate. It was Adenuga. Ziphora ran to hug him, tears falling from her eyes. "I don't know what to do. People are saying I'm a liar." Adenuga smiled. "You no be liar. Truth no need microphone. It speaks for itself." She wiped her tears. "But they're trying to ruin everything." Adenuga looked her in the eyes. Then sing your truth. Let your voice fight for you. The day of the final show came. It was the biggest stage Ziphora had ever seen. The crowd was massive. Lights flashed. Cameras rolled. Judges sat, waiting. But before she walked on stage, Teo handed her something. It was an envelope. "What's this?" Ziphora asked. "Open it after your performance," Teo smiled. Ziphora nodded. She stepped out. The lights hit her face. She could hear the whispers from the crowd. "Isn't this the girl they said lied? Isn't she the village girl with no parents?" Ziphora took a deep breath. She touched her believed necklace. And then, she sang. This time, her song was different. It wasn't just soft or sweet. It was strong. Powerful. Full of every pain and every dream. She sang about being forgotten. She sang about rain falling on broken hearts. She sang about her mother, and about finding light in dark places. The crowd was silent. Many wiped tears from their eyes. When she stopped, the hall shook with applause. Even the judges stood. The host came on stage. "Ladies and gentlemen, your winner is Ziphora." Backstage, Ziphora opened the envelope. Inside was a check, a contract with Lagos National TV, and a letter. It read, "Your story touched lives. This is not just your win. This is a beginning. We want to help you build your dream. A music school, for kids who feel forgotten, just like you once did." Ziphora cried again, happy tears this time. 1 week later, Ziphora returned to Ojodugu. But she didn't come as the crying girl who once slept in the rain. She came in a car, wearing a long dress, surrounded by cameras and fans. The whole village gathered to watch. She stood on the same ground where Naomi once chased her out. She pointed at a big banner that read, "Ojodugu Music School, founded by Ziphora." Children screamed with joy. Drums played. People danced. Naomi stood in a corner, watching. Tulisa beside her. Ziphora turned and looked at them. But she didn't shout. She didn't insult them. She smiled, and walked past. Her concert was only hours away. The world was watching. But in her heart, Ziphora had one last message to sing, one that would leave the world in tears. The stadium lights were shining. People were standing outside the gates, holding signs with Ziphora's name. It was the night of her first live concert, the one she called. From street to song. Inside the dressing room, Ziphora looked at herself in the mirror. Gone was the girl with muddy slippers. In her place stood a young woman with bright eyes and confidence. But her heart was heavy. "This isn't just a concert," she whispered. "It's my message to the world." As she stepped onto the stage, the crowd roared. Phones flashed. People chanted her name. "Ziphora. Ziphora." She took the microphone. "Before I sing," she said, "I want to tell you a short story." The hall became quiet. "I was once a girl who had no bed, no food, and no love. I slept under a broken cot. My own family pushed me away. But I met kind strangers. I met hope. And now I'm standing here, not just as a singer, but as a survivor." Applause filled the air. She continued, "Tonight, I sing for every child who feels unseen, every child who cries in the dark." And then she sang. The final song was called Rise Again. It was the lullaby her mother used to hum, now mixed with beats, melody, and deep emotion. Her voice danced through the air. The lyrics were simple. "When they break you, when they throw you, don't forget your name. When the night falls, when the rain calls, still, you rise again." People cried. Some stood with hands in the air. Adinuga watched from the front row, holding a handkerchief to his eyes. Even Tulisa, sitting quietly at the back, wiped a tear from her cheek. After the concert, Ziphora walked backstage to meet fans and media. Suddenly, a security guard came to her. "Someone is here to see you. She says she's your aunt." Ziphora turned and froze. It wasn't her aunt. It was Naomi. Naomi looked smaller now. Her eyes red. Her voice quiet. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. Ziphora stared at her. So many memories rushed in, cold nights, hunger, pain. But instead of anger, she felt something else. Pity. Ziphora nodded slowly. Thank you for coming. She didn't hug her. She didn't smile. But she forgave her. And walked away. Weeks later, Ziphora stood outside the music school in Ojodugu. Children laughed and played drums. Paintings of young girls and boys filled the walls. She opened the school with a short speech. This school is for the ones the world tries to forget. This place will teach them that their voices matter. No matter where they come from, they can rise again. Moral lesson. Ziphora's story teaches us that no pain lasts forever. No matter how dark the night is, there is always a new morning. Even when family turns away. Even when the world laughs at you. There is always someone, somewhere, ready to show kindness. And sometimes, the people who fall the hardest rise the highest. Ziphora rose from street corners to stadium lights. From silence to song. And in the end, she proved one truth: every voice matters. Thank you for watching till the end. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to this channel for more interesting videos like this.